Hello, this is Monique McDonald. And if you're looking for more one-on-one help with your voice and how to make it magnetic, I want to invite you to check out my coaching packages at themagneticvoice.com. Then click Transform with Monique and book a complimentary connection call. Let's see if we can find a package for you that will fit all of your needs. I'm so grateful for your listening to the Magnetic Voice podcast, and I can't wait to meet you and continue the conversation. Take care. See you soon.
Welcome to The Magnetic Voice, here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel, a show where speakers and singers learn how to be more magnetic and align their voices to the divine within. Today, episode 81, Love Beyond Valentine's Day. And now your host, Monique McDonald.
Hello, and welcome to the Magnetic Voice podcast. My name is Monique McDonald, and I'm here with the lovely Shannon Kropf. Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Monique. It is awesome to be able to spend some time with you today, as it always is.
Thank you.
You always have such lovely nuggets of wisdom for us.
Oh, thank you. That means so much to me.
Awesome.
I'm very grateful to be here and to talk about one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah? What are we talking about today?
We are talking about love.
Yay, love.
Love is a many-splendored thing, as the song says.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is really an interesting time of year for me because I was born the day after Valentine's Day.
Oh, how did I not know that?
Yes.
We've known each other how long now?
I know. We've known each other a long time.
Maybe I knew it and forgot it?
That's probably true.
Probably, yeah.
And so I always sort of felt like this weird thing about Valentine's Day because more often than not in my history, I had no Valentine.
Right.
And so it's always like this, like, oh, man, and all the cards that you see and all the love and all the chocolate and all the flowers.
Hearts everywhere. Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, it's supposed to be the day to remind you of love, right? But it just reminded me of not love.
Right. And I know you're not alone in that.
And it also like if I was with somebody, it would be like, oh man, I love you every day. Why do I have to do something special on Valentine's Day?
Ask me about Dave and my Valentines, at some point during this conversation.
Well, why don't we hear it now? Because I have a feeling it's going to be the exact opposite of what I was just saying.
Well,
so let's hear it.
It is and it's not.
Okay.
And it's similar in the kind of like Valentine's Day rolls around and we're like, oh, okay, cool. And we've never done anything for our 30 years of marriage. But it's not like, why do I have to treat you special this one day? It's more like we look at each other and go, well, how could you be any better to me than you are on every day of our lives?
Oh.
So it's not a big deal for us because we try to be so good to each other all the time.
Right. I love
which is
that.
Slightly different from like,
That's actually very different. Because it is true that love is love, no matter what day it is. And historically, it's
the day was created in honor of Christian martyrs who died.
Right. We're all
Which is
happy
just
about
like,
it.
It's like
They're in the afterlife somewhere going, well, it's Valentine's Day again. I'm traumatized. How about you, Saint Stephen?
oh my goodness. And yeah, so I wanted to sort of redefine Valentine's Day and
Nice.
look beyond the tradition that we usually have around this. And one of the things that I find to be really interesting about this time of year is it's also, we're getting really tired of being in the dark.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's just, we've been in winter now for,
Yes.
2 months or 3 months at least.
Some
It's
number of months.
Some number of months. And
Depending on where you live.
depending on where you live, exactly. And we're sort of hungry for the light.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I feel like this is kind of in a lot of ways symbolic of this thirst to express love and to be loved.
Right.
And that the light represents love and knowing that we're not alone, that there's light and that there's not only darkness.
Right.
And as I look at these moments and how people go through the motions, and we kind of have had quite a bit of that too, right? With Christmas and New Year's,
yes,
and even Thanksgiving a little bit sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
Where we're just going through the motions. The calendar says blah, and so we respond to the calendar.
Right.
We're supposed to feel grateful in November.
Right.
We're supposed, right?
Woe be to you if you are not grateful in November.
Exactly. We're supposed to feel, holiday cheer in December and,
right.
be cheerful.
Right.
And it's like Valentine's Day is another sort of one of those things where we're supposed to feel loving and loved and express love.
Specifically romantic love.
Specifically romantic love in the month of February.
Right.
And I think it's kind of I just am looking at the parallel of that that also happens to be the darkest time of the year, the longest night, right? It's just interesting that we've created these traditions to bring these emotions out of us.
Right.
At the time of year where all we want to do is curl up and be in the dark and not talk to anybody.
Right.
And hibernate.
Yes.
So as I look towards the 14th of February coming up, I want to look at it and see if I can see it in a new light. Would you like to do that with me today?
That sounds really great.
Yeah. So if we were going to redefine the day of love, what would we want it to look like? I know romantic love is the one that we usually kind of focus on, but I like to think of all the different ways that love can express itself. Love of family, love of friends, self-love, ideas of love. How can that express in a different way than usual? I guess what I'm looking for is to find a different way of first experiencing it and then expressing it. Because
Right.
what I'm noticing is there's a lot of action, the buying
Mm.
of the flowers and the chocolate and
Right.
saying the
Making the
words
date at
and
the restaurant and then,
making making the reservation at the restaurant and all of those things that sometimes are coming out of a feeling or an internal thing, but most of the time isn't. Most of the time
Right.
it's because of the day, of the
Yeah.
calendar, of the year.
Yeah.
So as I look at these things and I look around, in my world, these things are getting more and more important as I get older.
Sure.
The love of family, for example. A lot of my family has passed on. And so those that I can touch, I hold so dear
Yeah.
and reach out from that place of just love and appreciation that I can still touch you, right? Like
Right.
that thing that we take for granted, right? That act of touch that we do
Yes.
all the time mindlessly,
Yeah.
caress here, a holding hand there, and some people don't touch in their family. I realize that was always kind of
Sure.
shocking to me when I would visit my friends and realize, in my family, we're so touchy-feely, but a lot
Right.
of people don't do that.
No, it's true. Yeah.
So I just, when I think about this and realize how lucky we are to be able to touch them, it's something that I want to practice more.
Right.
Being in the same room with family means
Right.
something different than it did when I was 14, 15,
Oh my
20s,
God.
right?
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
know you know exactly what I mean by that.
I poor Dave. I had a meltdown when we were putting up our Christmas decorations this year. And my dad loved Christmas and he's no longer with us and my mom's here and great. And I prepare myself when we put the Christmas ornaments out, when we decorate the house for Christmas. I prepare myself to be reminded of him and his energy and all of that kind of thing. I just forgot to prepare myself this year when we put the ornaments away. And so I was hit with this longing of, and it was related to I want to be in the same room as you, and I can't.
Yes.
And it just so happens that my mom was out doing whatever. And I just had this devastating thought, and I didn't even tell this to Dave. Okay, it's just Dave and I putting up ornaments tonight, and it won't be long until it's just Dave and I putting up ornaments always. So yes,
Oh,
I
sweetie.
understand that longing and that how family can mean a different thing even 10 years later,
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, I vibe with
I
that.
so feel for you, sweetie, because I know that feeling. And that's
I
the
know you
next
do.
thing that I actually wanted to talk about is, and not to make light of it, but sometimes we have to. When
Of
my mom
course.
died, right? When my mom
Yeah.
died, this was probably about a year and a half after she died, and it was an especially bad day.
Yeah.
And I was visiting a friend who actually is a very dear friend who's no longer with us. She passed away a year or two ago. And she was one of my, she was, she wasn't a prayer chaplain, but she was my prayer chaplain. It was just a very interesting relationship we had. And I was, she said, Momo. She called me Momo. Nobody calls me Momo, but she could call me Momo. What's going on? And my response was, my mother died. And and I was used to people saying at that point, wasn't that a year and a half ago? Wasn't that 2 years ago? Like they just didn't get it, right? That I'm still feeling, whatever it is I was feeling. So I was sort of expecting that response. But instead, she said, she's from Jamaica. So I'm going to do my Jamaican accent. She said, darling, she said, darling, you mean to tell me that you're just not going to relate to your mother anymore because she doesn't have a body?
Oh, I love her.
Wait, you're just not going to relate to her anymore because she has a body. She doesn't have a body now? And it stopped me dead in my tracks because I realized that I was so focused on the absence of her that I wasn't relating to her anymore. And so, as I look towards Valentine's Day and this reminder of familial love, I want to start spending more time in relationship with those that don't have a body anymore, that are part of my family.
Wow.
And talking to them and being with them and giving my attention to them and loving them as I did when they did have a body.
Wow.
And how important that is to continue the relationship. Because that is true love. And I don't believe they're gone. I believe they're right here with us.
Right.
Still.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I'm focusing on this year as I look towards Valentine's Day. A new way of loving, a new way of expressing my love. And then friends. I have been so blessed with many that call me their friend. And I realized and just noticed that there are very few that I call my friends.
Interesting.
Right? Isn't that interesting? I didn't like it when I realized that. I didn't.
Yeah.
And it's not a statement on them. It's a statement on me. And my ability
absolutely, I get that.
Open and ask for things and lean on others. I am very much more comfortable with being the one that is leaned on. The one who's asked, this happened in my life. What do I do? And I realized, no, I don't want that anymore. It's part of when I used to think of it as imposing. Or they've, especially because they've told me all of their problems, right? So I would think to myself, well, oh my God, they're going through whatever it is that life is bringing them at that point. They don't need to hear about my problems.
Right.
They don't need to, right?
Yeah.
And I realized, as I started looking towards Valentine's Day this year, that's withholding my love. Oh, that was rough to realize, because of course I never thought of it that way. I am loving them through giving them an opportunity to be my refuge, to be my confidant, to be my friend. And that's something I really want to work on, that act of love that I didn't recognize as love before.
Right.
And then finally, and I don't know about you, Shannon, but for me, it's so interesting, and it always has been, that the next aspect of love is the one that I've always struggled with. And that is self-love.
Yeah. 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 I know.
I know.
Oh my God. Don't we all struggle with that?
I think it's one of the most insidious puzzles of love. I feel that, we've all known those people that are so conceited and full of themselves and egomaniacal, and we're terrified of becoming that. So we completely go in the other direction of self-depreciation, of self-isolation, of not spending time or energy or attention with ourselves. Others, Lord, others. And what I understand more and more is that kind of egomaniacal person, that's not self-love, right?
No.
Although we sort of were taught that that's what that looks like. Even though it may not have been verbally, that's what we were led to understand, that that's what self-love is. And whatever you do, don't do that.
Right. Well, and just to insert there for a second before you go on with that sentence even, those of us who were brought up in the church, you absolutely, pride goeth before a fall. Don't be prideful. Don't be prideful. Humble yourself. All of which is on the surface lovely. Yes, I want to be humble, meaning I am open to others and compassionate and supportive and not always out for number one. Yes, I want to be all of those things, but I don't want to go down the twisted route of like, you can't love yourself, right? I mean, God, even Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself.
Which is tricky if you can't love yourself, by the way.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And this is, I feel like this is one of the things that I work with my clients on the most. Because in order to stand up in front of people and speak your truth and invite people into your programs or whatever your call to action is, in order to speak to inspire or speak to entertain, it has to start with loving yourself. It has to. Because we've all seen those people stand up to speak or sing who aren't doing that. And it's painful to watch.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
And it is an art. And it's something that is, I think, something that needs to be pursued, something that needs to be learned, what true self-love looks like, the tone of voice we speak to ourselves in. I mean, just think about that for a minute.
Right.
The way that we express self-love. Most of us are silent and shut down. Our relationship with ourselves is like, whoa. And in any loving relationship, the first thing we're taught is we have to give the other attention. How much attention are we giving ourselves?
Yes.
And I'm not talking about our thoughts, right? Which because, a lot of us are so in our heads about ourselves and how we're lacking, how we're beating ourselves up, how we're not doing what we think we should be. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about undivided, loving attention, which is when I'm in the presence of you and Dave, I see you guys doing that all the time for each other. The way you listen to each other, the way you look at each other when nobody's looking, right? It's just me, so I'm noticing. So the way that you talk to each other, right? And I'm just wondering what would happen if we started relating to ourselves in that kind of loving way.
Interesting.
Taking ourself out.
I don't know how to do that.
Taking ourself out for a date. Like, what would that be like?
Wow. Right.
And standing at the door of our minds and only allowing loving thoughts, loving attention, loving tone to be present with ourselves.
Right.
So these are my thoughts around looking past Valentine's Day this year.
Nice.
And truly looking at love beyond Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I love you, Shannon.
I love you too, Monique.
Thanks for being my quantum sister.
My pleasure. Absolutely.
All right. See you on the other side. And so I invite you to breathe as deeply as is comfortable for you, to watch your body expand to receive the air, and watch your body release the air effortlessly. And breathing in again, we open to receive the life force known as breath. Gently exhaling, releasing anything before this now moment. And again, this time as you inhale, I invite you to inhale love. Pause for a moment full of love. And gently exhale, releasing whatever is not that. And again, inhaling love. The greatest power there is. And pause for a moment and feel your whole being expanded and opened with love. And gently exhaling and releasing whatever is not that. And one more time for the power of 3. Imagine yourself inhaling even more deeply. Love, all that is love. Love as all there is. And pausing for a moment, full of love. Knowing yourself as love. Gently exhaling whatever is not that. And as we give ourselves over to love, we invite the power of love into ourselves, into this moment, into every corner of our being. We allow ourselves to open to love, knowing that no matter what life looks like, in truth, love is all there is. And the appearance of whatever is not love is just our soul, life itself, yearning for love. So with each breath in, we allow more love in. And as we exhale, this time we exhale love into the world. With our inhale, we inhale divine love, the most pure, open-hearted love. And as we exhale love into every corner of the world. We are love personified. We are divine love expressing itself in the world now. With every breath we take, we are receiving love and we are giving love, and the cycle is unbroken. It continues over and over and over again with each and every breath. We are more love. We give love. We are love. We receive love. This is the truth of who we are. Each and every moment of every day. And for the knowledge and understanding of who we truly are. We are so grateful. With love, so it is.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Magnetic Voice here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Magnetic Voice is copyright 2022 Monique McDonald, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Kropf and used with permission. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The SoulWorks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. SoulWorks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the SoulWorks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.